To state that How Far I'll Go is a song that borrows themes in the call of Jesus' first disciples would be to overstate the case just a hair. Not to mention be guilty of cultural ignorance and stealing. The stories that inspired the movie Moana, though actually not Moana herself, are from the indigenous peoples of the Polynesian islands, particularly from American Samoa, where the Disney creators spent several months hearing stories and learning before they began their work. And it is their story and not ours, and so it is a deference that I look at this story, the story of Moana and the song that comes from this movie, to see themes for our own sake as Christians. But the comparisons are there. Not because the original writers of the myths of Moana and Maui and all the Polynesian islands were thinking about Jesus, they so certainly were not. Because those of us who do think about Jesus can find inspiration in lots of places to hear God speaking to us, in places where the writers didn't intend that particular message at the time. For those who have not seen the movie, and with as few spoilers as possible, Moana is the tale of a young Polynesian girl, as I said, probably from the islands of American Samoa. She is the daughter of a tribal chief, and within the movie, she is set to become chief herself someday. Their tribe, though once navigators and explorers, have become a grounded tribe, or as grounded as you can get while living on an island. They stay within the confines of their reef, fishing the fish found there, and making a living in their little village. But Moana finds herself drawn to the water, drawn to the sea, and indeed is destined for a great adventure to help save her family, her tribe, and the world. But we'll get into that a little bit later. When she sings this song in the movie, it's at the beginning of the movie. It's what Disney calls an I Want song. It's a song in which the character says, "Here's what I'm seeking out of life." She says, "I'm so drawn here." She goes to the seashore, to the water, time and time again. She's told not to by her father, actually, but she has a voice inside, a call on her life, calling her to leave what she has known, to leave the waters of her childhood and pursue something greater. I mean, how could you hear that story and not hear Jesus at the waters of the Sea of Galilee calling Peter, Andrew, James, and John away from the waters of their childhood into something greater? The parallels are there. By extension, the parallels to her own call are there. So what can this story of Moana, what can the call that she describes in the song, How Far I'll Go, teach us about our own call as Christians? First, I'm going to put it, Moana's call was a part of her. She couldn't escape hearing it. It was that voice deep inside that kept drawing her to the water, to the boats, to the sea. That voice that challenged her, that pushed her to change the rules of her own people, of her own Father. We as Christians might call it the Holy Spirit calling upon her. But she had a choice. The movie shows her as a capable leader, helping to solve problems on her island. And outside of the more supernatural aspects of the story, which, of course, you can't really escape in this particular story, but it's likely she could have chosen the life her father imagined for her. She might not have felt quite as satisfied, but she could have been happy and successful as chiefess and ruler. And the tribe would have been alive, because Moana was a good leader. She had the choice to listen to that voice inside calling to her, or to keep doing what she'd always been doing. The same is is true for us. Being called by Christ is simply a part of what it means to be a Christian. It's inherent to who we are as the church. And indeed, I would argue that God calls all of us, Christian or not, into community, into service, into love. As Christians, we identify that call, that still small voice inside, as the Holy Spirit that helps us to discern and implores and comforts and prods. It speaks to us and calls us, whether on the edge of the water or not. Yet the choice to respond remains ours. Our human free will remains intact. We can choose to listen to that voice, or we cannot. We can choose to allow ourselves to be transformed by the workings of the Spirit, to be someone new, and to live into the adventure and newness that entails, or we cannot. We can follow where Jesus leads to see how far we'll go, or we can stay at home. God's love for us won't change. God's care for us won't change. We might even find happiness and success in our lives. I happen to think we would find less satisfaction in our lives, but still, the choice is ours. We can choose to follow the ways of God, to listen to the voice of God, and go where God leads. Or we cannot. It's our choice. And it's a choice that we ought to make with due caution and well-examined thinking. For this is not a tame calling that we are given. Sometimes it can even be dangerous. Moana faced dangers in answering her call. Once again, with as few spoilers as possible, during the course of her journeys, she faced getting lost at sea. She faced being almost abandoned on a deserted island. She faced monsters along the way, and a monster at the very end, a lava monster at the very end. Our risks of following where God calls us are likely to be a little less cartoony. I would hope that we don't have lava monsters at the end of our journeys, but no less real. I have said it before in this particular space, and it bears saying again. Following Jesus is not a safe option. The one we follow was crucified for his beliefs and teachings. And we who follow in his footsteps should not expect life to go any easier. Challenging the status quo in our world can be hard and can carry risks. Risks of our death and martyrdom, certainly, though less likely in this country than elsewhere, although not completely unheard of. After all, there were many martyrs following the call of Christ in the civil rights era, which is not that long ago. But risks instead more to our prestige, to our jobs, to our friendships. Risks to who we might be able to Facebook friend with and engage on Twitter with. Risks that in standing up for what's just, by speaking out against a racist joke, by calling out those who can't see their privilege, by working for the justice that God calls us to. We might lose friends, we might lose co-workers, we might lose bonds. Risks that in allowing those who have been long since oppressed to gain power and prestige, we might even lose our own stuff. Following Jesus is not a tame or safe choice. And we would be well pressed it's also a choice to love. And to me, that's what makes it a choice that I can't not make. I cannot be loved by God without choosing to love others in the way God has loved me. And that's our calling. All the details that we could go into about how we act in the world and how we speak in the world and where we speak out on behalf of the voiceless and the oppressed, it's all about love. That how we love those around us, how we respond to the love that we're given by God. Here too, the story of Moana gives us an illustration of what it might look like. Remember I said we get back to her adventures in saving the world. For most of the movie, Moana believes that she will save the world by delivering the demigod Maui to where he needs to be to restore the heart of the Tahiti, to bring life back to the seas of the Polynesian islands. And at one point, it becomes maybe what she should do instead is to find a way to sneak around the danger, to avoid the lava monster I've already talked about, and do it herself. And that's sort of right, but it's not quite what happens. Here's the big spoilers. If you don't want to know, you should close your ears. At the end of the movie, the twist is that the lava monster whom Maui is fighting, whom she is afraid of, who is endangering the entire world, is in fact Tahiti, the creation goddess, who has been hurt and pained by Maui's stealing of her heart. And that the way Moana saves the world, the way Moana saves her people, is by reaching out in care and compassion to heal the hurt that had been given. She restores the heart of Tahiti, not by venturing violence, not by rugged individualism or whatever else I'm thinking of there. She restores the heart of Tahiti and saves the world by seeing someone who had been hurt, saying, "I see you, I hear you," and then reaching out in love to heal that pain and bring about reconciliation. Is that not the gospel, friends? Are we not the people that God has chosen to bring the healing message of Christ into the world? To tell others about a God who yearns for wholeness, who in hopes for all of us relationship and peace, and whose desires for all of creation are justice, righteousness, and shalom. We are the ones called to follow Christ into the world, to proclaim the good news that in Jesus Christ we have seen the love of God, and we have seen the grace of God in that same place. We are the ones called to follow Christ no matter how far, and to care for others with love and grace and compassion as Christ's hands and feet and voice. We are to listen to that still small voice and then go and share with the world that needs the news and the gifts that the voice gives us. We are the ones called to leave the seaside and to journey through the waters and save the world, not from an evil lava monster, but from itself, by sharing what we have known and experienced, the God of love, that Christ offers us mercy and grace, and the new life is possible. Moana didn't know what awaited her on her journey across that line where the sea meets the sky. And we really don't know either. We know more than she did. We know that what awaits us there is the chance to be the healing agents of God, the ones who care for the world just as God does, and who love in Christ's name. That is our call. Let us answer it and see how far we'll go.